Hi, you're listening to a free preview of The Dark Side of Midnight, a novel by Tay Fox, voiced by AI. This is Chapter 2. If you haven't listened to Chapter 1, hit pause and click on the link in the description for the first video. Please like and click subscribe so you can be notified when more chapters are posted. This book will be available April 24th, 2024 on Amazon. Check the description for links and more information. Thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoy. Chapter 2. How many people are in your party? I asked, but I already knew the answer. I'd force the pleasantries and pretend we hadn't met. I couldn't afford for my sass to leak out, though it begged to be released. How dare she follow me to work?
Table for 2,
she replied. 2? That was a surprise. Her gaze traveled the length of me, leaving my mind spinning with her judgment. Despite me not liking her from the moment I saw her, I sat her at our best table, overlooking the forest beyond the empty parking lot. She placed her Louis Vuitton purse to her left on the duct-tape-patched pleather bench. I wondered who might meet her and if she felt as fish out of water as she looked in this tacky diner. Her presence unnerved me here as much as it had in the cemetery. She folded her sunglasses and stared up at me with powder blue eyes. I stammered before I centered myself. The special is Belgian waffles with fresh whip and strawberries. I lay the laminated menu on the table in front of her. Can I bring you a drink? I internally begged for her to respond so I could walk away.
Water,
she requested. She had unusually defined smile lines for someone who I expected to live intolerably. Her skin looked radiant and soft. If I was honest with myself, which I was not, she was beautiful, and that fact only urged me to despise her more. I returned with a tall glass of ice water. Would you like to wait for the person joining you?
No, Briella, I'm ready. I'll have the house salad. Vinaigrette on the side.
I didn't have to look down at my name tag to know that it said Ella. How on earth did she know my name? Salad? It was barely after 8 in the morning. I'm so sorry, we don't serve salad until after 11. I'd never had to use that line before. Her expression flexed downward and she gently sighed. The typical reaction moments before a patron lost their bananas. I couldn't afford her drama, especially not today. I gathered the menu off the table. But don't worry, I said. I'll talk to the kitchen. I'm sure I can get them to whip that up for you. I shoved the menu into the slot with all the others on my path to the kitchen. Hey, Jeff. I called in a hushed voice through the order window. Lady on table 4 wants a house salad with dressing on the side. He pursed his lips and tilted his head disappointedly to the side.
Ella, you know we don't serve lunch menu until...
I know, Jeff, but she's going to clutch her pearls and break a heel on her designer pumps. I'll give you my tip for the trouble. Not that my landlady would agree, but I had to get this woman her salad so she could leave. Within minutes, Jeff tapped the order-up bell and placed the salad at the window. I delivered her salad with the brightest smile I could muster. Can I bring you anything else? Maybe I was overdoing the friendliness. When she didn't immediately reply, I took the silence to make my escape and hovered out of sight, but close enough to watch. I sat the other patrons and took their orders. When everyone was seated and plated, I circled back to the woman, but she hadn't touched her salad. I forced myself to her side. Is everything to your liking? I conjured my brightest smile and cursed myself for dashing away so quickly.
Join me,
she said softly. I glanced around the diner. She had no idea what a hard-ass my boss was, and I could have another customer walk in at any minute. I'm sorry, She turned to her purse and placed a paper on the table. It wasn't just any paper. It was a $100 bill.
Please sit.
She slid the bill toward me, and it didn't take any more convincing beyond that. Just for a moment. Wasn't that awful? The things I would do for $100 when I'd rather tell this lady to take her money and shove it up her. I slid onto the bench across from her. Seeing her so close, her features appeared oddly familiar. Where had I seen her?
I went to visit Anne on her birthday too.
She winced as if it was painful to speak those words. I fought to control the despair seeping from the dark depths where I'd locked it. Provoked, it lurched, jarring my stomach and made me feel ill. Despite the pain, I was determined to face the world with a smile. Survival allowed no other choice because I was barely scraping by. "You knew my mother?" I asked, my head tipped to the side, searching her features for familiarity but couldn't place where I'd seen her before. "Who was she?" She nodded, her expression solemn.
Of course.
She paused as if to consider what she'd said.
She was the only person I'd trusted to take care of my house, and she did it well.
"Mrs. Wolfe?" I asked. I'd recalled seeing her in the family Christmas card photos that Mom stuck to the refrigerator every year. She nodded.
Call me Catherine.
"Catherine," I repeated, feeling awkward. Mom had only ever referred to her as Mrs. Wolfe. What was left unspoken was that she left her position without much notice or reason, but I could tell by her softening expression she knew why. Our gaze connected, and we both nodded, understanding the unspoken knowledge of why Mom left her position. Her cancer diagnosis was sudden, and her passing was equally abrupt.
We miss her.
She blotted her eyes with a handkerchief. My hands wrung in my lap, squeezing and picking at my nails. Me too. I miss her too. More than I ever knew possible.
I wish I would have known sooner. I could have helped, could have done something. So please, truthfully, how are you doing? Where are you going to college? She always talked about you. She was so proud of you. You know that, right?
I nodded, tears brimming my eyes. I'm fine. Lies. But I'm dropping out of college.
You can't drop out.
I laughed partially at the absurdity and partly at the audacity of this woman I'd never met to tell me what I could or couldn't do. I can't afford rent, let alone my tuition, and working here doesn't leave time to study or do anything else. She clucked her tongue disapprovingly.
Well, we'll rectify that.
There's only so many hours in a day. I'm already working 6 days a week. I threw my hands up in the air defensively. The people at the next table over glanced at me for a moment before turning away.
Move in with me. You won't have to pay rent, and I'll fund your tuition.
Oh, no, I can't accept that. Those were the words that tumbled past my lips, not because I didn't desperately need help, but because accepting her help made me have to admit that I was failing on my own.
Why not? You'll work hard, won't you?
I nodded in agreement. Of course I would. She pulled a business card out of her purse and handed it to me. I looked down at her name and number on the card and shook my head. I couldn't accept this, but it was exactly what I needed. A miracle.
Call me and we'll work out all the details.
Okay. I drew in a ragged breath and fought the tears forming. She stood from the table, left a $100 bill on the table, and gave me a hug.
We'll see you soon.
Thanks for listening to the first chapter of The Dark Side of Midnight, a novel by Tay Fox. If you'd like to listen to more, please subscribe so you'll be notified when more chapters are added.